Just a quick reminder that today's session is a bonus session. So we're going to be focused on, very specifically, we're going to be focused on how to follow up, basically how to utilize the recommended platform. And just as a quick reminder, I do recommend ActiveCampaign. However, you are free and welcome to use whatever platform you want. All right. So no pressure to use anything specific. The reason why I recommend ActiveCampaign is just because it is far simpler to use than most platforms out there. It has 95% of the functionality of a full-blown CRM without anywhere near the same level of cost of most CRMs. And again, it's something you're going to pick up much quicker because it's just so darn user-friendly. Most importantly, it has the automations needed for a proper follow-up sequence. And that's really where you start to get into the growth zone, is when you begin automating your processes. All right, so that's why I recommend ActiveCampaign. If for whatever reason, if you prefer, or if you're looking for something else, GetResponse is another good system. For a while, I wasn't recommending GetResponse just because they were a little bit light on features. They were falling a little bit behind. But within the past 6 to 7 months, they've really put forth some massive effort to update their systems with more automations and some better systems for that follow-up process. So I can also recommend them again, like I used to. So either platforms work well. Even if you're using something like Aweber or Constant Contact, again, even those systems are still way better than doing nothing, right? So there's no need to go out and cancel. If you're using something that you're familiar with and comfortable with, there's no need to go out and cancel what you're already using if you're happy with it, just to move to a recommended platform, unless you see a significant improvement when I'm showing you these features. All right. So again, I'm going to be showing you ActiveCampaign today, and we're going to go through some of the processes and give you an in-depth look at how to set up a proper automation sequence. All right, so give me just a moment here, folks. I am indeed recording today's session, and I will make that available within Glip for you. So give me just a quick second. I'll be right back with you. I got to open up a couple of tabs, and we'll be ready to kick off the session. All right, chat with you in just a moment. Okay, we are back and ready to rock and roll. So the first thing I'm going to do is let me get my screen active here. We're going to share some screens, and let's get going with the ActiveCampaign dashboard. So I like ActiveCampaign so much, I have 4 separate accounts that I draw from. Okay, so I'm going to show you one account here today, but all of them are pretty much the same, minus just how many contacts you have in them. So right now I'm using my client contact. So these are actual paying customers. Across your top, you're going to see contacts, campaigns, automations, deals, lists, forms, and reports. I'm going to explain to you what each of these tabs mean. But when you're first getting started, folks, when you're very first getting started, the first thing that you want to do is click on your lists tab. Because when we start talking about things such as contacts and campaigns, you're going to need to connect them to a list. So let's go ahead and click on a list. And I'm going to click to add a new list up at the top right here. So when we're looking at your list or your lists, think of lists as categories or groups of people. Okay, so in other words, if I have a certain group of people that I want to send specific messages to, I'm going to create a list for them. So when somebody, say for example, you have a landing page and somebody puts in a name, an email, and phone number and starts answering all of your questions on that landing page in that form, where is that person going to get sent to? If the form you're using is from ActiveCampaign, well, they're going to get sent to a list. They're going to be, quote unquote, subscribed to a particular list. And I like to break out lists into, they could be as small as just a handful of people, just 2 or 3 people. They could be as big as, tens of thousands of people, as large as you want. So if you ever feel that you have core specific messages that need to go to specific types of people, then go ahead and create a list for it. I have about 50 different lists. because I like to really sub-segment them into really tiny categories so that they're getting really personalized messages. So let's say that I'm running Facebook ads for general purchase. Okay, so I might create a list that says general purchase. From Facebook. Okay. Next is what website URL is this list for? If I have a landing page, then I'll just put my landing page URL. Basically, all it's asking is where are you capturing your emails from? What landing page are you using to capture these from? If you're not using a landing page, then just put your primary website here. Basically, the purpose of this is to be in compliance with CAN-SPAM laws. ActiveCampaign forces compliance, and that's a good thing because you don't want to unknowingly violate regulations that could end up with you being hit with being sued essentially for a lot of money for violating CAN-SPAM. So they force it by asking questions such as this, because you have to disclose to people who are on your list basically where have I come from, or what is this? What's this all about? And where did I see you from? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that out here. Okay, and let me just do a quick sound check here. Normally I do that first. Is everybody here hearing me okay? Just let me know in the chat box. Is everybody able to hear me okay? Just give me a yay or nay in that chat box. So I did get a message that someone wasn't able to hear. So please let me know in that chat box if you hear me. Okay, so I'm getting some yeses here. All right, good deal, good deal. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put down here where it says remind your contacts why they're on their list. So again, this is what's going to save you from getting hit with a lawsuit in regards to CAN-SPAM laws. And that's because this right here is going to show up in the footer of every email you send. You don't have to type anything into your emails. It's going to be automatically put into the footer of your emails. So that's, again, what we call force compliance. That's forced compliance. So we just remind them, you are receiving this message because you requested more information about buying a home in St. Louis. Okay, so for whatever reason, GoToWebinar is acting really goofy. It's not supposed to be asking individuals for passwords or anything along those lines. So if any of you guys have trouble getting in or had trouble getting in, it's definitely acting a little goofy. Let me just pause this right quick. There we go. Okay, because yeah, some folks having trouble getting in. There we go. Just making sure everybody can join us here. So there we are. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so once I put a reminder here, again, all of this information minus the name of the list is going to be auto placed into every email you send out. It doesn't matter if you're sending out to one person or sending out an email blast to 10,000, ActiveCampaign will take care of it. So now I click to create the list. Boom, now I'm good to go. Now here's the thing, guys, is when you create a list, that list is also going to give control over what shows up in your contacts. Okay, with all of your contacts, these are your actual prospects themselves. So when I click on a contact, I'm going to have all of their information and whatnot is going to be shown in here. So I'm just going to scroll down here. So please don't anybody accidentally contact someone here. But what it's going to do is it's going to track every little bit of activity. It's going to track down their Facebook profile, their LinkedIn profile, their Twitter profile, everything automatically. So I can click here and get connected with anybody that I capture from my Facebook leads. If they've utilized their email address to set up a Facebook profile, LinkedIn profile, Twitter profile, it's going to show up here. And all I got to do is click a button to be connected with them on these social networks. Okay, I can see their profile, send them a message or a connection request, whatever I want. But as you can also see, it's also going to, let me just there we go. So I have to use the arrow button here on this page. It's also going to keep track of all the different questions and things that you might ask that you want to store information on, just like a full-blown CRM. Now, the problem here is that when you first log into ActiveCampaign, it's only going to show a certain number of questions and information that can be stored on the profile. And that's because you have this up here. So let me just go ahead and click on one of my lists and click Manage Fields. And now I can create new custom fields. So this is important if you want to store information about people's loans and the types of questions you ask on your Facebook ads, because by default, it's only going to show first name, last name, email, and phone number. But if I go in here and click to create a new custom field, then I can add all sorts of information that I want to store on here. So I can put things such as, let's go ahead and do one right now. Estimated gross income, for example. And now every lead that I capture, it's going to have a space in there for monthly income, right? I might come in here and do a drop-down menu. And this works great if I'm going to create lead capture forms and whatnot. So estimated value of home. And I can put my estimates in here. And so forth. And the more I add in here, obviously, the more cluttered your page is going to be here. But you can see a lot of my questions are showing up here from even a while back when I had a lead capture form that was for masterminds and coaching programs. You can see that the questions show up here. And if the person ever ended up on one of my landing pages and filled that out, it will auto fill in all this data. It'll just automatically show up here in the contact. I don't need to come in and manually put this data in there. Okay. So that's what's really, really cool. Now there's another super cool feature in here called tags. All right. Now tags work out extraordinarily well for doing sub-segments within your follow-up marketing. Now I'm not going to go into it too much just now because I want to get to it later after we get deeper into this. But I'm just going to tell you right now, tags are almost like your best friend. When it comes to automation and follow-up marketing, tags are a gift. They're absolutely super, super powerful. And you'll start to see the light when I go over what you can do with them. But for now, let's keep things simple. It tracks every bit of activity. Anytime an email's opened or they visit my website, go to a certain page on my website, stay at the website for a certain period of time, all of that data is tracked and put over here underneath recent activity. So for every activity, for every lead that I capture, I can see whenever they're reading my emails, which emails they read, what links they clicked on within. Did they go to my website? If they did, what page did they check out? All of that information is tracked. And as you can imagine, that's super, super valuable information because as you go along and you build your database and capture more leads on Facebook, because remember, the bulk of people aren't going to buy right now, correct? They're not going to do a loan with you right now. But the more you build that database, the more it's like a bag of popcorn. You know, you never know which kernel's going to pop next. Well, being able to come in here and see who's regularly going to my website and opening my emails and clicking on my links, that's telling me where my hot leads are, right? These are the people that I need to focus on. So let's say that I pick up the phone and I call this person because I go, okay, it looks like he's opened up a lot of my emails, blah, blah, blah. So let me go ahead and call him. So I call him and have a conversation. Okay, well then I just click to add a note. So I can type whatever I want here. All right, and that'll show up underneath my recent activities. Or I can even send an email without having to even exit this page. I can send an email from right within here. I don't need to go to my email client or go back to campaigns and send it as a campaign. I can just boost out an email right here from my database without having to leave. And that saves you some time, guys, because it's a pain in the butt to have to toggle back and forth to my email client, and send out an email and, okay, what's his email address, blah, blah, blah. Who cares what his email address is? It's right here within this platform, so it's automatically going to send to whatever email address I have on file for him. Maybe I need to schedule a task, okay? Well, in here, I can set up phone calls and follow-ups right here. And then once I type out a description of what I need to do, down here's my alarm. So I can add an alert where it'll actually send me an email reminding me of what I need to do. And then I can just add my call. Do I want to do a call? Do I have a meeting? Maybe I need to have lunch, send out an email, whatever the case may be. I just put out what day is it on, what time, how long do I think it's going to take. Okay, I'm going to schedule a 30-minute call. And then when I'm done, I add an alert. What time? Okay, do my alert about, I might do it about 15 minutes before it needs to be done. Okay, and how do I want to do it? Okay, go ahead and send me an email, save, done. I can see here now my alert is scheduled, so I'm going to get an email from ActiveCampaign 15 minutes before my scheduled time to call this person with a reminder telling me that I need to call, or whatever it is I typed in this box. Okay, so I can schedule reminders as I browse through my system. I can schedule these things as I'm going along. Okay, so is everything so far so good, everybody? Make sense? Any questions on this process yet? I'm just going to pause here for just a moment, just in case there's any questions, give you time to type it out, or you can click to raise your hand if you want to verbally ask your question. Okay, all right, so far so good. Okay, depending on which account you grabbed from ActiveCampaign, that also has what's a built-in CRM on the back end, and that's what this deals process is here. So when I click on deals, I can click to create a new deal or assign a deal to this individual, and a deal is basically when I think that I have an opportunity to sell this person something where they've taken enough action and I've met with them, or maybe they filled out docs, 1003, whatever. That's when I come in here and say, okay, I think I have a deal now. Okay, so that's how you track that particular process, your funnel. So if I click on new deal, I can actually say, okay, buying a home in 30 days. Okay, what do I think that the dollar value is going to be to me? Okay, how much do I think I'm going to make off of this and fee? Okay, I might put 4,000 or whatever. Again, you put whatever you want in here. And you can see I have entire pipelines where I track everything that I do. I have a lot of different pipelines. Like I said, I have a lot of different programs, a lot of different niches, including with real estate agents, what stage in the process, and who originated this deal. So I can come in here and click add deal. So I just added this one as a dummy, but let's head on over to the deals. Okay. This tracks my entire pipeline. Okay. So I can set up different stages of my CRM, of my pipeline of, hey, what have I sold this week? What do I need to follow up with this week? And then who's in my pipeline to buy within the next 30 to 45 days. Okay. And you can color code each stage of the process and you can scroll through and find everyone. So this keeps track of everything, guys. But as you can see, I can create my entire funnel, my entire CRM stage process here just by clicking to add a stage and fill everything out from here. It's very, very simple. So here I have individuals that have completed their strategy sessions this week. How much is each sale potentially worth? I can click on one and go directly to that contact to see what's going on with them. These are individuals that said, okay, we're not quite ready to buy just yet, but possibly, give us another 30 to 60 days and we'll follow up. Okay, so these people are my possibly later. These are the people that just fell off the edge of the earth, don't know what's going on with them. And these are the people that have already scheduled their phone calls who are interested in buying. Okay, so it's going to track and even tell you. So at a glance, you can look at the dollar value of each stage. Okay, so you know basically what to expect, what's coming up in income-wise within the next 30 to 45 days or 60 days, or if you want to push it out further, you could push it out further. But I like to operate in 30 to 45 day segments just because when it gets too far out, it's not that accurate of a prediction is what I found. Okay, so that's what I like to do, folks. You can do it your way. but it's as simple as clicking to add a deal and create whatever segments you want. So for me, these are the people who I just recently won. So these are people who bought within the past week. These are people, again, that have fallen off the edge of the earth. People have completed their scheduled strategy sessions with. People that I still think, in my opinion, I still think that they're serious, but needs to be put off till later. And then people who are on the schedule for a strategy session to discuss what they're buying. Okay. For you, I would probably do, if you're doing general purchase, then set up one that's general purchase. What are the stages of the process for you? Pre-doc, docs taken, 1003s taken, blah, blah, blah. Just go down and create a stage for each stage of the process. And here's the beauty is you can set up different funnels, okay? Different CRMs, one for each thing. So I maybe have one for general purchase, have one for refinance, and then have one for repeat clients. Or you could even set them up for different niches, one for VA, one for FHA, because you may have different processes that you follow for different niches, right? So does that make sense? That this is basically just your at a glance where I can click on and see who's in my pipeline, what stage they're in, and if I need to move them, then I can, or I can just click on here and boom, I got all my information here. See that? So it's just everything at a glance. Keeps it simple. And I got to all that just through clicking on my deals tab right along here in my top navigation bar. Okay. Any questions, guys? Are we all good? Okay. Good deal. Good deal. No such thing as a bad question here, guys. No such thing as a bad question. So feel free to ask. So we've looked at lists. We've looked at contacts. We've looked at deals. Let me show you something else about contacts that I really, really love. Let's say you already have an existing database. Then we just click on the import button and I can import from a file. So let's say you have an existing database and you exported it. Typically, you're going to export as an Excel spreadsheet, right? Or a .csv. Well, if that's the case, then all I have to do is click here to import from a file and just follow the instructions. It's super, super simple, okay? So that's all I got to do. But let's say that you don't have a file. Let's say you keep everything maybe in a Word document or in some other database format. Well, in that case, then I can just click here to copy and paste my contacts. It just shows you right here, just make sure you put them in the following format. So either you stack each email on top of each other, or you just separate everything by the quotations and a comma. You can do either one. This is if you have multiple field values, or the just stacking them on top of each other is if all you need is their email address. Okay, because the email address is the minimum amount of data you need to have a contact in ActiveCampaign and, well, pretty much in any other email autoresponder and automation software. But yeah, you just basically just copy them, paste them in here, click next, and follow the instructions. So you can upload as many people as you want. It could be as small as just uploading 2, 3, or importing 3 or 4 people, or you can import 10,000 people at a time. The system doesn't care. All right. Awesome. Awesome. So any questions? Any questions so far? I'm just going to pause here again for just a moment to make sure that, and I know some new folks joining us. And yes, I am indeed recording. So don't worry, guys, if you missed the beginning of the call, I am indeed recording and I will be pasting this into Glip for you. But I'm just pausing for any questions. Make sure that you guys get an opportunity before I move on, because I know we're covering a lot. Greg is asking, Chad, have you gone over the automations yet? No, we have not. We have not gone over the automations just yet, but we will. Okay. All right. And if there's something that I haven't covered yet that you would like to see covered, please let me know, guys. Let me know in the chat box, sooner the better. If there's something specific that you'd like to see covered within the follow-up process with ActiveCampaign, now is the time to let me know. Okay? So just let me know in that chat box if there's something specific that you want to see. So again, I'm just going to reiterate to make sure we're all on the same page. Lists is, think of lists as groups of people who are similar. So I would probably have a general purchase list. If I do FHA loans, VA loans, reverse mortgages, anything that's niche, I would have a separate group for each one, because those lists are telling me who I'm going to contact whenever I send out a campaign. Okay. Deals is like a miniature CRM that basically shows you your pipeline. Also allows you to schedule follow-ups and all that fun stuff. Send reminders to yourself to call or email or whatever the case may be. Keeps track of how much money you have in your pipeline, so you can kind of predict what's coming up. Automations I'm going to be getting to shortly. Campaigns I'm also going to be getting to, which I love. Campaigns are really, really cool as well. And then I'm going to get to tags, because like I told you guys earlier, tags are an amazing, amazing thing. So now that we've gone over contacts, let's actually go over tags right now. Let's just go ahead and talk about tags, just because they're that kick butt. So let's go back to the same contact that we were using before, and I'm going to scroll down here to tags. Okay, so these are tags right here. And all I got to do to create a tag is literally just click where it says enter tags and just type out a tag. So let's look at our, I'm going to give you guys a visual representation here. So let me open up a document. I'm going to give you guys a bird's eye view so that this makes perfect sense, because I want you to realize the power of tags. So let's say I have a list with an active campaign called General Purchase. Now, here's the problem with having a list that wide, because those leads could have come from Facebook. It drives me nuts. They could have come from Craigslist. They could have been a referral. Where else could your leads have come from, guys? Where do some of your leads come from? They could have been from a realtor. They could have been from an email blast. Where else do you get leads from? Okay, friends. So yeah, referrals. Yep. Past clients. Yep. Family. Yep. All of that. So in other words, I don't know how that lead got to me. So let's say that I want to send out an email blast, and depending on where that lead came from might dictate who needs to see what email, right? Even if they're within the same list, there's still certain differences. Or let's say that certain people have gone to my website and watched a particular video within this list, and other people have not. So it can be origin-based, or it could be action behavior based as far as what tag I choose. So a tag basically just allows me to put a little tag on a particular lead, identifying them. So I could have tags that say Facebook lead, Craigslist, family referral, realtor referral, or I can have behavior-based ones that say, in this case, I might say, watched intro video, has not watched intro video, or attended webinar. Maybe if you host any type of like homebuyer webinars or anything like that, read blog post, clicked a specific link, whatever. I can make it a tag whatever I want. Here's the importance of these tags. Is now when I go out to do an email blast, and let's say I want to send out an email, tell the system to automate and send out an email only to people who have watched a specific video on a specific topic. So maybe I have a video on YouTube entitled, okay, you need a loan, now what? Okay, well, anybody that's actually taken the time to go and watch that video, I want them to receive a certain email. But the people who have not watched that intro video, I don't want them to get that email. I want them to get a completely separate email that encourages them to watch the email or watch the video. Because if I just do a blanket email blast to my entire database suggesting, hey, go watch this awesome video. And let's say 25, 30% of them watched that video already. I'm going to kind of look a little bit like a dummy, like I don't even know what's going on. And they might get a little frustrated, and I just wasted a perfectly good email to them that they took the time to go open. They're rolling their eyes going, I already watched the video. Dude, what's up? Get on top of your game. Whereas the tags, I can tell the system to specifically drop a specific tag that says watched intro video whenever they go and watch the video. And if after 5 days have passed, they still have not watched the video, even after I encourage them to watch the video, then put the tag in, has not watched the intro video. So now, when I go through to do an email blast, so I go to my campaigns tab up here, and I click on new campaign. Now watch how my tags come into play. So let's say general purchase, reminder to watch video. So I'm doing a standard campaign, and I click my next button. Now I tell the system what lists to include. So I can just come down and, I mean, heck, I can just do all of them. Just do all of them. And then I come down here and click to create a new segment. Now the segment is where I can tell the system to conditionally send the emails. So in other words, only send the email if they've opened something specific, or if they have a specific tab or don't have a specific tab. I can even tell it to only send if they live in a specific area, if they've gone to my website and done something, if they're in my pipeline, whatever. So maybe I only want to send an email blast to everyone in my pipeline because those are all my hottest leads. Well, then I click here for deals. But in this case, I want to use my tags. So I'm just going to click tag. And I have an option for either exist or does not exist. So either send the email if they have the tag, if they do not have the tag. Well, in this case, I want to send a reminder to watch the video. So in this case, I only want them to receive the email if they have the tag, has not watched video. Then I click the next button, boom, and now I can get to write out my email, click the blast button to send it out, and now anybody who has that tag connected with their contact that says has not watched video will get the email. Anybody who has the opposite tag, has watched video, will not get the email. So does that make sense now, the value of tags? It allows me to filter people who have done specific things or have not done specific things, or have come from specific areas or has not come from specific areas. Really, really cool feature, guys. I know upon initial, when you first look at it, it's like, well, what's the big deal? Trust me, it's a big deal. The more your database grows, the more and more you're going to appreciate just how powerful tags are. Okay? Awesome. Awesome. So we're going to go through automations here soon. Let's talk about automations. Going to do a new automation. There we go. Boom. And before I actually create an automation, let's talk about content. So I see here where one of the big questions is, well, what do I send? Which that's definitely a good question. What do I send? How do I build out a good follow-up sequence? All that fun stuff, suggested content, follow-up processes, all that fun stuff. So I talked a little bit about that on last week's Mastermind. I did talk about what an ideal follow-up sequence looks like. But let's talk a little bit more. Let's go into a little more depth, though. So let's go back. Before I create an automation, let's talk about follow-up sequence best practices. So what do I send? Here's what I like to send. Is first things first, I want to only send content that is informative and relevant. I want to send links to great articles. I want to send links to blog posts on my website or Facebook. I want to send little known facts. I want to send common misconceptions. I want to send link to a video. Video links always work great because people are more likely to watch something than read something. If this is a general purchase, then I'm going to send links to great home deals. So anytime there's a really particularly great or hot deal on a particular house in a particular market that I know they're in that general area and they're house hunting, then I'm going to send links to that, maybe even on a weekly basis. Okay. So I might get them used to opening emails from me saying, hey, here's this week's hottest deals. So the top 3 or top 5 home deals in the St. Louis market right now under 500,000, or whatever price point they're in. Again, that's something that I can use tags to help me with. So I can tag, for example, if somebody has gone to and filled out my lead capture form and selected what price point they're looking to buy in. So I'll set up different price point tags, one that's 500,000 and below, one that's 500,000 to $1 million, and then one that's luxury homes, $1 million plus, and so forth, right? So that means that when I'm sending out my emails, it becomes very, very, very easy to automate this process because I can come in here and decide what to send and where just by using my tags. Okay. So this is a type of content that I like to send. Also, credit-based articles and info tend to be pretty hot. Opt-out info for trigger leads tends to be a really, really hot email to go out. So let's talk about that. If you really want to get in good with your prospect, show them how to opt out of trigger leads, right? So you could just go to Google and just put opt out trigger leads. Okay. So let's see, where is it? Here it is, right here, optoutprescreen.com. That's the link. Boom. So we all know what trigger leads are, and we know how annoying they are, and we know that they allow your competitors to, when you finally get around to pulling credit, they allow your competitors to suddenly just bombard them and annoy the heck out of them, right? So what I like to do is send out an email whenever I get a serious lead to earn some trust and credibility with that prospect. Send them an email that walks them through the process of how to get rid of all those crazy amounts of phone calls they're going to be getting and spam they're going to start getting and junk mail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, all they got to do is it's going to take 60 to 90 seconds for them to opt out to make it so that the credit bureaus cannot sell their information as a trigger lead. And that's what this website does. Right? So just put together some simple instructions, sending them to this link, telling them, hey, click the blue button at the bottom. And they can choose to opt out electronically. That's boom, they're going to be opted out for 5 years, or they can do a permanent opt out by mail. I usually instruct them just to do it electronically because it's much, much quicker. And the sooner you get off that list, the fewer telemarketing and pushy salesmen and spam calls and junk mail they're going to get. And besides, they can always, re-up, after 5 years, if they still want to be on the opt-out list. But I love sending this because this one does tend to get a lot of questions and a lot of comments, a lot of thank yous, because people love this sort of thing. Make sense? So these are the types of things that you want to send in a proper follow-up sequence. Great usable information that they're going to be thankful for, because you know what? The first time you get flooded 5, 6, 7 loan officers calling you in one day, that's when you really start to appreciate something like this. So it's going to save you as well, because now their information is not going to be sold as a trigger lead when you pull credit. So they're not going to be shopping you as much. They're not going to be hearing a bunch of contradictory stories from folks who are just trying to undercut you, right? So you actually get better conversion if you walk them through that opt-out process. It's very simple. All right, so I'm going to pause here for just a moment. If there's anything that you would like me to answer in the meantime, go ahead and let me know. So again, just pausing here for about 20, 30 seconds, give you guys an opportunity. So if I've missed anything or you want to see a particular topic covered, now's the time to let me know. Okay, so all right, so yeah, texting is actually built within ActiveCampaign as well. So yeah, we'll talk about that in automations during automations. Okay, and let me also give you guys some advice when it comes to emails. Month number 1. I might even send a little bit more. That may sound like a lot, but keep in mind that for most individuals, they're only going to see about a third of the emails you send. So I tend to send during that first month when I know the lead is extra hot, because this is when we're setting our groundwork. I generally want to do a minimum of 6 emails for the month, preferably 8 or more. Okay, the limit around 10. I'm generally not going to send more than 10 emails during the first month because I don't want to be annoying either. But in most cases, since only about a third of the emails you send actually get seen, so there's no possibility to open it if they don't see it, right? That's why I tend to send more emails, is because I want them to see at least one of my emails each week to give them an opportunity to get on the phone with me or to click on one of my articles, my blog posts, go to my website, fill something out. I want to see buying signals. And that's the whole point. Okay. Now, after I get past month number 1, I might toggle that down to about 6 for the whole month. And that's generally where I stick for several months. In fact, because what you're going to find is that the bulk of individuals are 60 to 90 days out anyways. So I don't want to toggle it back too much. I don't want to overdo it, but I don't want to underdo it either. It's a fine balance. It's like walking that tightrope. So about 6 emails on a typical month for at least the next 3 or 4 months to make sure that I'm in front of them regularly. And there's nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with recycling content as well, as long as you got a couple months under your belt, because they're not going to remember most of those articles and most of the stuff that you've sent them anyways. They're not going to remember that they've already read it. So nothing wrong with that, again, as long as you don't overdo it. I mean, if all you're doing is always sending them, repeat content, okay, I'm going to want to slip some unique content in there as well. Does that make sense? Okay. Awesome. Now, what I also like to do is, if somebody's already brought up, I do like to send SMS, text messaging, basically. And we know ActiveCampaign can do that. It can automate that process for you. So I do like to incorporate that with my email follow-up, and I like to incorporate, the voice drops, which I talked about last week. For those of you unfamiliar with voice drops, it's kind of like slide dial. That probably gives you a better idea. But it's basically the ability to send a recorded voice message directly to their voicemail. It bypasses ringing and just goes straight to their voicemail. So it's almost like they missed a call when they're listening to it, when in reality, that was the intention all along, was to skip the actual live conversation with them, because it's an automation anyways, and leave that message to their voicemail. And when you leave a verbal message, guys, it really does help boost your credibility. So I do like to go that route. I recommend you do the same. Okay. All right. So let me just pause my screen here for just a moment. We're going to go back again, and boom, here we go. So we're right at automations. Now, for those of you that need a little help with some of your coming up with some lists of emails and things that you want to send, let me know, and on Glip, I will send you a super cool feature that allows you to import entire automation campaigns. So I have a couple automation campaigns. They're just general purchase in nature. And all you do is you click on here to import automation, and it asks you for a URL. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab my URL. Just a moment while I grab that. So here's one on credit. There we go. It just asks me to input an automation URL. Okay, perfect. Just going to go ahead and put it in there. I'm going to click import. We're going to give it a moment. And boom. I can tell it what list I want them to subscribe to. I'm just using this as a dummy. So, okay, boom. And it just walks me through each step. So these are the pre-built email automations. It's asking who do you want to be sending these emails. Awesome. I'm done. I have my full automation built inside of 60 seconds just by clicking to import. Now you can see with this particular automation, basically it's focused on credit. It's a credit analysis email automation funnel. And you can see what the names of each emails are. Pretty neat, huh? So my entire automation is built out. Each one has a certain number of time to wait in between each email sending. So that way I'm not just sending back to back to back to back emails, but rather by putting in to wait, and I can do that just by clicking the plus sign, right? So scroll through our options here. There's the wait right up here at the top. So that's when I send an email, when I tell the automation to send, and I come in here and I say, okay, well, in between each email, how much time do I want it to wait? So, maybe wait 5 days, wait 7 days, wait 14 days. Sometimes it depends. Okay. But you can see here that you have conditional workflows here in your automations where I can always tell the system what to do. Pretty darn cool, huh? So these are all of our options for conditional and workflow-based options built within ActiveCampaign. So if I wanted to split test something, I could even use my split option here, evenly split the contacts or choose how to distribute them. So I could say, okay, I want half the people to get this over here and half the people to get that over there. So I'm just going to split it right down the middle, 50-50. Perfect. That's a great way to test and see how well your follow-up is really working. Because otherwise it's all just guesswork, right? So I can start new automations, end old automations. Just so much I can do here. So much, so much. All right, so where are contacts? Perfect. So within contacts, I have the capability to subscribe or unsubscribe. What instance would I tell the system to automatically unsubscribe somebody? Why don't you guys help me out? Let's see what you guys got rolling around in your head here today. When might I tell the system to automatically unsubscribe a lead? When would that be relevant? I know you guys know the answer. Who's going to get it first? There we go. When they fund. And then Matthew says if the email bounces back. There's another one. Yeah. If they bounce back too many times, that's a hard bounce. So we definitely want to unsubscribe them, right? Or if they actually close, or if they take some sort of action that means they should no longer be on a specific list. Let's say, for example, my general purchase list. Let's say that the system, by the way, tracks what pages they go to on your website. One of the things that it can track is what those pages are and then what to do about it. So let's say I have somebody under general purchase, but the last 5 times they've opened my emails and gone to my website, they've gone to the refinance page of my website. Well, at that point, I'm going to tell the system, hey, if this happens, unsubscribe them from my general purchase list. Step 2, subscribe them to refinance list. Because otherwise, I'm just wasting my marketing. I'm wasting my time sending them over information that's not relevant to them. If they're looking to refi and I keep sending them a bunch of purchase information, again, it kind of makes me look a little silly. Or like several of you said, if they fund, if they actually close out, do I want to keep them in this list for pre-purchase for individuals who have just taken an application but haven't closed yet? Do I want them to keep getting information that's not relevant to them? No, obviously not. So that's, again, another instance where I would unsubscribe. So that's the beautiful thing, is I could tell the system to subscribe or unsubscribe, or even automatically update and add notes, add tags, and remove tags right within ActiveCampaign, whether I log in or not. All of this can happen automatically just based on me saying, hey, let's do this when that happens, and so forth. Make sense? It's a pretty darn cool piece of software. It's very smart. Can do a lot of things. Over here, I got send SMS. SMS, that's your text message, right? So that's right here. I go up to my sending options on the left. There we go. Let's go ahead and click on it now. So I mentioned this last week. By default, if you have a basic account, you're going to be limited to just sending out 25 text messages for the month. But if you click on details and just check out the different packages, you can actually upgrade and you can get to however many text messages you want each month. I recommend just start out with the freebies in the beginning and then upgrade once you get a better idea of how many you're going to need for the month. You don't want to overbuy, but you don't want to keep underbuying either. So for you, it just depends on what volume of leads and how many folks you have in your database. I like to put limitations down here. Time of the receipt is between, because it's tacky to text somebody at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Those types of hours. It's completely unacceptable 9 times out of 10 to be texting all these individuals. So that's why I can put these limitations in here. So I'm not coming across looking goofy. Same for the days of the week to send. You can choose which days are productive, which days are not. Any questions there? Just pausing here for any questions. Okay, Chad, how are we alerted to responses to SMS? Okay, great question. The best way to do it is to use your phone number. Put your phone number in there when you're asking them to text you back. Your phone number. That's what I like to do, because I like to create that conversation, right? Now, again, since this is all built within a autoresponder, it's all going to be tracked right here in the system too. So whether or not you put your phone number as a response option in there, it's all still going to be recorded when you go to your contacts And within your automations, check this out. Within your automations, I can also do, let's see here. Tasks right here. So I can tell the system to schedule a follow-up phone call anytime somebody responds to the text message to go ahead and set up a task for me, right? So that I know to follow up with them. I know that that was received. We also have notifications. Let's go in here, right here, notify someone. So I could also tell the automation in here that, hey, notify me, and it can send an email to up to 5 separate email addresses at the same time for your notifications. So if somebody does respond to a text message or takes a certain action, okay, notify me, send me an email. Again, really, really cool. Okay, can we get notified on the outgoing SMS that triggered a response, just so we can access contact info? Okay, so can we get notified? Okay, so I'm not sure. I think I might know what you mean here, but I just want to clarify the question. So are you basically asking, can you receive a notification when the text message is going out? Is that what's being asked here? I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. Because if so, then the way it works is the notifier is, again, based on where they are in the process. So let's go ahead and put notify someone. So see, oh, there we go.
Chad, this is Greg. Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can hear you. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. What I was looking for there was if we get a response back from somebody from an automated text, just to be able to know kind of who it is and where in the conversation are they, and just so I can respond back and not be kind of lost as to what's going on.
Gotcha. Well, here's what happens is if when that text goes out, first of all, you're going to be able to identify those individuals to begin with, and you're going to have everybody who has received a text, you're going to have them tagged automatically. So I would go in here and I would definitely recommend setting up a tag. Which again, setting up a tag is just as simple as typing out what you want the name of the tag to be, and boom, you're done. You now have a tag, right? So I would make sure that every single person who has given you their cell phone number to text them, that they all be tagged, right, within the system. So let's say you actually get a message, you can come in here into contacts. So let's say you got a text right now from somebody who just responded, then I can come in here and do a search for that phone number just right here, and boom, I'll be instantly connected. It'll pull up their profile. I click on their profile. Now I can see the entire history of everything that's taken place with them up until now. Okay, so that's one way to check up on before you respond to that text. See, okay, who am I texting? But I can also check status. I could check on everyone that has already had a text sent out to them as well. Okay, so I can either search by phone number, or I can search by their name if their name is showing up in the text, or I can search based off of everyone who's been tagged as having received a text message today. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. If those aren't good enough, if you're looking at that and saying, okay, well those are kind of cool, but I would like something even more automated. Let's go ahead and let's pull up something new. Let me show you guys something else here. Okay, manage. Let me see if I can grab it. Give me just a moment here, guys. I just got to open up some extra tabs and stuff. So. Almost there, guys. Almost. Here we go. Apps. That's what I'm after. Right here, guys. Check this out. Another big reason why I recommend Active Campaign is because of how flexible it is and that it plugs into almost everything. So when I click on my name over here at the top right and this little drop down box appears, I have this option here for apps. Okay. So these apps show all the different software programs that will plug right into Active Campaign. And if you're wondering what does what, because you look at all these different things here and you go, man, I don't know what any of these things do. Well, you can look over at the left-hand sidebar and you can see they're broken down into different categories. So I got social apps, sales apps, lead generation apps, form apps, developer tools, CRM, CMSs, blah, 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 blah. So if I really, really want to do some automation above and beyond this, well, there's tons of apps here that will connect directly to your Active Campaign at the click of a button that give you additional automation. So if you want something that'll actually email you the moment you get that text message and connect it with your Active Campaign contact and say, okay, here's exactly who messaged you and here's your previous conversations without you even having to log in, then grab one of these apps, probably something like Zapier, which they even have a free version of Zapier. They have paid versions as well, but you can do about 90% of the functionality with the free version anyways, so most of you wouldn't even need to pay a dime. You can just subscribe to them for free. Zapier will connect you to all sorts of additional automations. So that would be my recommendation if you want automation above and beyond what it already does. You don't even really have to spend any money if you utilize something like Zapier. Okay. Another really cool tool that I like to use in follow-up is BombBomb. Most of you guys are probably already familiar with BombBomb. What BombBomb does is it's video emails. And it makes it really easy to send out video emails. And if you want your emails to start connecting with people way, way better than they do by stock, just grab something like BombBomb. I think they have like a $30 a month program and then a $50 a month program and up, all sorts of different price points. But send out a video email mentioning somebody by name. I assure you, you're going to get a much, much, much higher response rate to your emails. Okay. You don't have to use something like BombBomb to send video emails. Heck, you can just, shoot something and then just put a link here in Active Campaign and accomplish more or less the same thing. But the difference with BombBomb is that it's a hosted video that you don't need separate software to record your video. You just click a button and say, okay, I'm ready to record my video. And it automatically connects with your webcam and boom, you start shooting your video. So it makes it really, really quick and simple. Let's say you get 15 leads this week. Is it worth your time to record 15 welcome video messages to your prospects? Hell yes. I'm just telling you right now. Absolutely. Because when people hear their name, so it's, hey, Greg, this is Chad Weber. I'm the guy that runs the page that you just requested more information from. The page, just as a reminder, offered to help you see just how much home you can afford and what you actually qualify for. And we're even going to talk to you about low down payment options, right here in the St. Louis market. And I just wanted to take a quick second to say hello to you personally, just to let you know I'm a real person and let you know who it is you're talking to so you could put a face to the name, but also wanted to give you a couple quick pieces of advice about buying a home here in the St. Louis area. And I give them some good freebie information. And I'm doing it verbally. And as soon as I'm done, I can click that send button, boom, shoot off a video email to that person that's going to be a lot more meaningful than just a regular old email. You'll see about a 30 to 40% increase in the people who respond to your emails if you do it that way. Okay? I'm just saying. You don't have to do it. If you don't want to spend any extra money on something like BombBomb, okay, perfectly fine. You got YouTube out there. That's going to be a little more clunky, more steps for you. But, if you're operating from a budget, it might be worth it. There's lots of video programs out there you can make use of. But the bottom line is if you take the time to do it, yes, it might sound like it's time intensive, but you know what? Just come up with an overall basic script of what you want to say to everybody so that you don't have to write something new every single time you respond to somebody. And you're going to hammer these out very, very quickly. And just the boost in people that respond to you means you waste less time because you're actually saving time by doing this because you waste less time trying to hunt them down and force them to respond to you. right? So that's my recommendation. So are you seeing how all of this comes together? Basically, what I do is I create my automation by coming up with my different steps. So let's say I'm you right now. Okay. What I want to do is, boom. Okay, so let's create my automation. Before I can do my automation, I first need to tell myself, okay, here's what my process is going to look like. So my first email should be a thank you video email. Now, for those of you that are just going, holy crap, I'll never have time to do that. Okay, then fine, don't do it. Don't do it. I like doing it, but it's not a requirement. If you think that you just don't have enough time and that's going to complicate things to where you're not going to take action, then don't do it. This is just me, my recommendation. But if you're just way too busy and you can't delegate that step of your process to somebody to take care of it, then just do a regular old email. But just make sure that you are sincerely thanking them in the email, reminding them of the info, and then letting them know what happens next. This is the single most important aspect, guys, during that first email. You got to manage expectations. You got to let them know what's going to happen next. Okay? So that's email number one in my automation. So now I know what I need to create for email number one. So now I can pop back over to my automation within ActiveCampaign, click new automation, and I'm going to do, let's just take a look here. What do I want to do? You got a lot of different options here, guys. I'm just going to start from scratch. Instead of grabbing a recipe, I'm just going to start from scratch. So I click here, create, and okay, when somebody subscribes to my list, which list? Okay, I tell them which list, run it one time, add. Boom. I've started my automation. So now I'm going to click here, the plus sign, and say, here's what happens. The very first step after they've subscribed to my list is to send them an email, create that email, I write it out, and then save it. Create. Step one is already done. Now I can move on to step number two. What's the next thing I want to have happen? Well, the next thing I want to have happen is I'm going to tell the system to wait another day or two. So I'm going to click underneath. Let's pretend I went ahead and wrote this email out. I didn't, because I'm not going to sit here and type out a whole email. I know you guys don't have patience for that. So let's just pretend I have an email right here scheduled. Now I have the plus sign underneath it. So that means now what happens? Now that they send this out, what happens? Well, now I want them to wait. Because otherwise, if I don't put a wait note in here for maybe one day, then it's just going to say, okay, we completed step number one. Now let's instantly do step number two. Nope. I want there to be a 1 day, a 24-hour gap between the first email they get from me and the next email they get from me. Okay. So now I have that taken care of. So now I say, okay, after they've waited for a day, now what's going to happen? Okay. Well, now I want to send them an email or maybe send them a text message. You decide. So let's say that I decide I'm going to send them an email. Okay. So now email number two. So I go back to my list here. What do I do for email number two? Well, let me send them instructions on how to unsubscribe from trigger leads. I want my best information going out very, very quickly. Okay. So now I'm going to go in here. I'm going to write my quick email with instructions on how to unsubscribe from trigger leads. And then I'm going to click to wait. Okay. Again. So now after email number two goes out, I want them to wait this time for 2 days. I might even do 3 days. You can even do wait just down to minutes or hours as well, guys, just so you know. But let's also look at an alternate method of waiting. Check this out. When I click wait, look at what it asks me. It says, do you want them to wait for a specified period of time, like I've been doing, or until specific conditions are met? Well, if I click on specific conditions, then I can actually select what conditions are met. So wait, instead of saying wait for 2 days, I want to wait until they've taken a certain action, clicked on my link, or opened my email. So I can put, don't send out the next email until they've opened the previous email, or clicked on a particular link, or whatever the case may be. Or if they've been subscribed to this list as well, or has this tag or that tag. Look at all these different options you have. I mean, again, it's really, really powerful. You can get as specific as you want, but in this case, I'm going to make them wait 2 days now instead of just 1 day, and then I'm going to take my next step. All right. So now I'm going to send them my next email or text message. Again, it's up to you. There's also, what I like here is you also have the capability to send site messages. So site messages are really, really cool in that when people go to your website, it shows up in the bottom right corner as a little pop-up, boom, and welcomes them. And see, it's like a little tag, a little cloud, message cloud. So I can create that message cloud and say, it's kind of like a push notification almost. Put 2 greetings in there by accident, so I can add some emojis, can just personalize it all sorts of different ways. Now check it out. I can personalize by, again, I can just put today's date on there, but under dates and personal information, I can pull from their info as well of what's been collected in there. So again, I can, let them know that I'm talking directly to them by pulling and even welcoming them by name if I want, because again, we don't capture leads without their names, right? So it'll actually say, oh, hey there, Greg, welcome back to the website, blah, blah, blah. Or it'll even say, oh, I saw last time you were at the website was such and such day. It tracks all of that information. Okay. Here, geography, it tracks geography as well. So maybe it says, oh, hey there, Greg. Last time you were here, you were shopping for homes in 63385 area code. Are you still looking for a home in that area? So I just add these little tags. See how specific this gets? Again, this is how powerful ActiveCampaign is. I can play around with the type of cloud here as well. So right now I'm using the basic theme. If I want to move to a colored one, I can put some dark stripes on it, put some contrast, change my background. I can have it slide into the page, fade in. What page, where do I want it to show, and the position? Right now it's set to bottom right, but I can shove it over to the left side of the page if I want, or even the top of the page. Again, you're doing things that other people are not doing. And that's just super, super powerful. Okay, so that's initial message. Now, the initial message means that this is just a short intro. We can have it so that when they click, it goes to a full detailed message. So right here, I can do things like start inserting pictures and just add a whole darn commentary here if I needed to. Again, it's up to you. But again, I'm just giving you examples of all the amazing, wonderful things that can be done with your automations. All right, so does that make sense? You see how powerful this really is? It's pretty darn cool, isn't it? All right, so I hope this is getting your gears turning here. So step 2, again, if I'm doing BombBomb, then I'll probably do step 2 with a video so I can actually show them how it's done. But again, it's up to you. Even a text-based message telling them how to unsubscribe from trigger leads, is still going to be ultra powerful. Or you can even send them over to a YouTube video telling them how to do it. It's up to you. Maybe screenshots, graphics, put it in a blog post. There's so many unique ways that you can convey this information to make your follow-ups awesome. Another type of message that I like to do, message number 3, I'll probably tell them a horror story. Stories sell, guys. Stories absolutely kick major booty. All right, I'm just going to tell you that right now. People get sucked into stories. So I'm going to tell them some of the horror stories of people right here in the same town as them that did things the wrong way, and here's what happened to them. So here we go. Here is the worst. Actually, let me do it. Okay, so again, just right off the top of my head, let me tell you about a couple who bought a home right here in St. Louis last year that had the whole process blow up into the worst nightmare imaginable. You won't believe all the crazy things they had to deal with. I'm shocked they even ended up in the home, period. I'm telling you this insane story so that you can avoid making the same mistakes they did that opened the door to this nightmare. Okay, by now the people are going to be asking themselves, well, what happened? And what did they do? How'd this happen? What happened? They're going to want to know what happened next. So that's how you suck them in. Whenever you can work in, even if it's just a short story, into your emails, you're going to engage the people much, much better. And what I like to do is start with one story, and sometimes I'll even make it a cliffhanger so that they have to open up the next email to get the rest of the story. So I can get them looking forward to my next message. Because again, remember, mortgages is such a dry topic. It's such a boring topic to most people that we can't be like most industries and just send these exciting, amazing messages that everybody's super pumped about because it happens to be their hobby or their passion. No, we have to find ways to make it more intriguing and more interesting. And oftentimes that means stories. You want another really cool way? How many of you guys, let me know. I just want to make sure you guys are still listening. Let me know in the chat box. How many of you guys want to hear the coolest, most fun way to come up with super fast emails ever? That'll get probably 60, 70, 80% of people opening their emails. How many of you guys? All right, you guys ready? Okay, so John and Greg, or John and Greg, oh wait, no, here comes Pete too. Okay, Matthew. Okay, check this out. You guys probably already know of this resource, but you probably just haven't thought of how to use it this way or how to incorporate it. So give me just a second. I'm going to pause my screen here. Let me get it open. Okay, let's see here. And actually, what I just did right there is a perfect example of what you need to do in your emails. You see how I got you guys to engage with me by just asking you a question and just kind of dangling something out there as bait. Everybody's like, yeah, I want to know this. I want to know. It's natural human curiosity. So we're tapping into that. We want to tap into that. But no, I really am about to show you something really cool. That wasn't just a ploy. I'm just excuse me. For some reason, I am not finding it. Give me just another moment. Did it disappear on me? Maybe I need to move that into group. All right, for some reason I'm not finding my tab, so let me try one other thing. I know one other place I can get to it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, so I have it. Now, let me find what I'm looking for. Boom, right here, guys. This is it. There we go. I like to spend a lot of time on the lighter side of real estate website. How many of you guys are already familiar with this site? Anybody ever gone to this website before? Okay, yeah, so, yep, you guys have seen it before. How many of you guys have seen their fail pictures? Okay, and what I mean by that is like pictures of homes that were listed that are just baffling. Just absolutely horrible, horrible pictures that you can't believe people actually put their homes on the market with all this craziness. And what I like to do is my emails that get the most openings and the most feedback, and I'll even get people asking me where they can find more pictures like this and whatnot. Like this one right here, head scratchers. Okay, let's open up and check these out. I will insert these into my messages or link to them, and the people find it hilarious. They look at this for fun. Look at this, the 13 real estate agent headshots that can't be real but actually are. I mean, it's just DIY fails. Okay, so people that tried to do home improvements and just absolutely ruined their homes. So when I insert some of this into my follow-up emails, the people end up looking at all the pictures, and then I'll link and say, if you want to see more, click here to go to my Facebook page and where you can see even more, or my blog. But I get them, what I'm doing is I'm getting them out of the email and to my website, because to my website is where there's calls to action. The calls, you don't have a bunch of calls to action in your email, do you? They're on your website. So you want to get them to either your website or your Facebook page. And this is how you do it, is you lure them with all these just crazy nutty pictures of these, like, look at this. Look at this bathroom. I mean, this is a nightmare. I mean, for sale, 4.5 acres. Okay. I mean, look at this garage. this blows my mind. So some of these things that you see are just going to be shockers, and it's going to make them just be like, holy crap. And you can work this. Oh, I love this. Look at the fan right above the toilet. So you can definitely incorporate this into your emails, but ultimately link them over to your site or your Facebook page, one of the two. And you will get a lot more engagement. And you can utilize a lot of what you find over here at the lighter side of real estate. You can incorporate those into everything else that you're doing. Okay, makes sense? So basically what we're doing is we're taking what we know to be a dull and boring topic, and we're making it more fun and more interesting. I love that. All right. So any questions? Does this make sense so far? Is there anything that you want me to circle back to? Now's your opportunity. If you have pressing questions, now's the time to ask, folks. All right. Okay, so I hope you found today to be very helpful. Ultimately, my recommendation again is active campaign. However, you can get response can do most, not quite all, but can do most of what we've described here today. Obviously, you're going to have a different dashboard and whatnot. So if you prefer get response or already have get response, you can still create your automations. You can still obviously create your lists and your campaigns and customize your contacts just like you can here in ActiveCampaign. So you don't necessarily have to jump away from whatever you're using now if you're using something like GetResponse. Okay, Constant Contact is not quite up to the same par or same level as ActiveCampaign and GetResponse. So if you're using Constant Contact, that's one that I probably would move away from unless you're already super comfortable with it. Same with MailChimp and whatnot. They're all competent, but they're not quite to this level. But if you're super comfortable with it, then just go ahead and stick with it, because the most important thing when it comes to all of this stuff is consistency. Consistency is key. I'd rather you be consistent than be using the most cutting edge, right? Because if making that switch over means you're probably not going to stick with it because you have to learn a new system and you're already comfortable with one of the others, I'd rather you just stick with where you're at. Okay, so that's just my advice. Obviously, you can do whatever you want. But have you found this helpful? Do you guys see how all of this plays together? Basically, your lists are like setting up groups of people. Your tags are identifying people within those groups. Your deals is like your sales funnel, looking at a glance. Your CRM, scheduling tasks. Automations is how to make sure all this stuff happens automatically without you having to touch a thing once it's up and running. Your campaigns is sending out an email blast. Contacts is just how it sounds, your contacts. The only thing I didn't really cover on was creating lead capture forms. So creating lead capture forms is if you want to insert a form right onto your website, or even shoot one out there onto Facebook or on a blog post or a landing page, whatever the case may be, you can create forms right here within ActiveCampaign. So let's call this one General Purchase. Okay, so let's see, subscribe to list, right? Let's just say this one, create. All right, so this is what my form is going to look like. If I were to just copy and paste the code they give me right now, this is exactly what it would look like, okay? However, I want to go in and customize, so I can click on what I want to customize. So instead of subscribe for email updates, let's say I give this a title. So find out how much home you can afford. Boom, there we go. Okay, so now here, as you can see, I can create. I wouldn't get rid of the code because I want to leave that. So I would just replace this with whatever call to action I want to go down here. And it's the same with each one of these. So full name, yes. Email, yes. If I want to add more, I can. Or if I want to change my button text, just as a heads up, buttons that just say submit, they suck. Just telling you how it is. They stink. Always put something more powerful. Put something more convincing. So yeah, click here to see what I can afford. Make them want to click that button. So now I go to my style. I can change my style. So I can make it a side-by-side form, or I can leave it as a traditional form. I got my options. So for my options, subscribe to my list, my thank you page once they're done. I got all of these options here. If I need to add more questions to it, I can. So here I'm asking for their monthly income as well. Okay. Here are the standards. Okay. Now down at the bottom is where you can turn off. Here we go. Got it. Boom. All right. So I turned off the advertisement, because by default, if you just go ahead and integrate your lead form, it's automatically going to have that ActiveCampaign logo on it. So I just shut it off down here at the bottom. Okay, perfect. All right, so then when I'm done with all that, I just click to integrate. And here's the beauty. I can either copy and paste some code here, or I can get a version that can integrate directly into Facebook right here. Okay, so add form to Facebook. Boom. Um, add it to WordPress right here. Boom. I would download a plugin that would connect my WordPress with my ActiveCampaign. Or if I just want a link, if I just want to post a link into an email or something along those lines, then here's my link. Or if I want to copy and paste the code into my website, I do that here. Okay. So when I'm done, save and exit, ready to move on. Okay. Okay, so here's a question. So for Facebook leads, do you recommend a task be set for an immediate live call to the client or a text that drives them to a live call or a scheduled call? Typically what I try to do is I do try to schedule an appointment. And then what I'll do is I'll put anywhere from a 10 to 15 or even up to a 20 or 30 minute delay for a voice drop phone call. So yeah, for a voice drop, if you're scheduling a voice drop, I typically put it on at least a 10 to 15 minute delay minimum. And the reason why is you don't want to seem desperate. You don't want to seem like you were just hovering over your computer. And as soon as you got their lead form, boom, I'm calling you right away because I got nothing else to do. So I put it on for a little bit of a delay, but not too much of a delay either. Okay. So, because if you wait too long, then the iron's no longer hot, right? We want to strike while the iron's hot. So that's why I like to put the delay on there. Okay. All right. So great questions today, guys. So I got this recorded. I will get this processed. Again, this is not our call for this week. This is a bonus call. So this was just something I did for those of you that wanted to learn more about ActiveCampaign, just to make sure you've kind of seen it in all its glory, all the different things it can do, because there wasn't enough time last week to really go over the nitty gritty, so that's what the purpose of this call is. But I'll get the replay posted into Glip for you, and I hope you guys found this beneficial. So I will see you next time, our regularly scheduled time for this week, Thursday. You guys make it a great rest of your day. All right? Bye now.